Hello, welcome to another episode of Bob's Worst Rescue. You can see what we're going to break today, but I can also going to give you a show of what we have actually broken so far. So they'll give you a quick capture of it. This will be episode 7. So, and I'm sorry I haven't released anything recently. Just been a bit busy with other things, life, you know, it does happen. Just stopped for a little bit of a break just before I show you what's gone on here with the grinding up the welding. So I have actually been presented with a cup of tea by my lovely lady wife, Samantha. We got to have tea in the afternoon. It's a beautiful day outside today. It's one of those days where we've got lovely blue sky. I just move over. You see there's lots of blue sky out there. Yeah. I should be out really. Anyway, we continue with the bus. So let me just give you a bit of a summary of what I've been up to. So I'm just grinding up the welding that I've done just recently. So all this quarter panel's now welded up, and I'm just grinding it back with the die grinder and then the finger grinder as well. They seem to be really good at getting it back to a surface, and then if there's any holes or anything, I can touch them up with the welder. I'll just put The only thing I've forgotten to do though is I forgot to put the holes in for doing the plug welds to replicate the spot welds in there inside. It's not a problem because this wheel arch, because I'm about to remove that soon anyway. I'll put the holes in from the other side once I've removed this. I must remember to do that. I must remember. I've got a terrible memory. I have forgotten quite a few things on this project so far. You may have noticed. Yes, catches me out a bit every now and then. So I've seen a few people write things. I might do that. I might just get the Sharpie out and write on it. Quarter panel's going in. Once this is all ground up, the welding's all sorted out around here as well. I want to ground these down here, and then I might have to go back in and weld it up again a touch as well. Once that's done, I can then... Well, I'm not going to fit the rear valance panel piece because I have to chop all this out and do the other side as well because the other quarter is in the same condition. I don't want to do that just yet though. I'd rather do this wheel arch. I could do with a change. I want to do the wheel arch. Rip that out. And there'll probably be some corrosion in the tub on the inside. It's really good in there, but I'd imagine there is some on this outside hedge here where I'll have to fabricate some parts myself. So that comes next once I've got this ground back, finished up, probably put a bit of body filler on and a bit of epoxy primer as well. And then that will all be sealed up and finished up. You've just got to keep going on these projects. Don't know how long this is going to take, this wing. Not done one before. It's going to be interesting. I shall cut it out and shall see what we've got. I haven't got a lot of room here though, so I'll have to create a bit more room. I need to just move some of these bikes, get that sorted out. Just a bit of a catch up anyway. One of the other things I will do is on the inside here, on this, where the weld is, I'm going to tidy that up as well and probably touch it up with the welder, just so that it's a really nice smooth surface. Then grind it back, see what I've got, and then see if I can either skim it or it looks okay there, because I do want that to look okay. hope you don't mind me talking to you through this light hole. I believe the engine bay needs to look good because you spend a lot of time, well, looking at it when you're working on a bus. So this all is going to be tidied up completely. So where we do have some signs of rust, they'll be got rid of. That's all bad over there anyway. The only thing I did find when I did this was, you may see it here, I have to pull that back into place there with the clamps, but I had to free it off because of just the movement of the panel. It's not a problem. I'll be able to clamp it and pull it back into place. Just have to put a flex on it. But it's because these panels aren't perfect. It's also because of the way I probably fitted it. I could have possibly got that to fit a little bit better there. I'm sure I could have done. But it's nothing I can't fix. And let's be honest, it's Bob's Buzz Rescue. I've got to break something today, haven't I? So that's what I broke in this project. And I'll fix it as well. And it won't just be in a half-arsed way as well. Although, I have to be honest, half-arsed is quite a good way to go. Who really wants to spend a lot of time being fully arsed to do things? So slightly more than half-arsed is probably what I'll be aiming for. Yeah, so as you can see here now, or as I'm about to show you anyway, it's not so good here. I've been trying to replicate the spot welds down there, and I've not done as well as I thought I would. I could do better, but I have been going over it with the Dremel on a very small die grinder to try and improve what's going on, and that's been working actually, so I shall carry on with that. Unfortunately this corner kicked out slightly, which isn't great, but I think I can cope with that. So we've got a little bit of sink across here, so if I move this magnetic straight edge, you can, I don't know if you can see that there. Might be me just being very fussy. I will be able to get a bit of body feel around there anyway. So it's kind of pulled in slightly, you know, with pulled in the top, so it's sunk in the middle there and on both sides. And this lower panel is slightly thinner than the upper. I think the upper is in 18 gauge and these panels aren't. There must be 20 gauge. So if I put that magnetic thing there, can see that we've not done too badly down there. Really haven't done too badly for a first go. So I'll move that out of the way and just show on there. So I did get a bit thin here. I had to use the TIG welder to actually get that back again. I had I pushed. Basically I burnt through, so therefore I then had to use the phosphor bronze block that I had to weld it in. I've left this stitch out. I always said I would do because I'm going to cut this out next. Of the other things I'm going to do next, I've got to just finish off this on the inside because I do want this to look quite good. Because when you're in the engine bay, you need to look over and it needs to look like nothing's really ever happened. So I'm going to tidy this up a little bit more, probably put a little bit more weld in as well, and then take it back, grind it back a bit, and it will have a skim of filler over it ultimately. And then I was going to use in the engine bay wrapped paint. You can get clear Raptor paint, and I was just going to add the, apparently if you use Raptor paint with the colour of the paint that you're going to use, you just use the paint you're going to use, you put it in, and it will take on the Marino Gelb colour that this is. So I was going to coat the whole engine bay in Raptor paint. That's kind of the way I'm thinking about going. I have all this done in POR 15, which is a good base, but I'll put Raptor paint over the top of that, and then that should make it pretty solid for the future. I'm going to do this wheel arch next, so that's the next thing to cut out. I just want to tidy up, finishing off on this little bit here. I'd rather have this point where I've seen plenty of people on YouTube who've been doing these jobs, and they often say, I really wish I just finished off an area that I was working on, rather than getting it to this sort of point that I'm at now and then leaving it and going somewhere else, to the point where they then have to, when they go back to it, they've got to carry on dressing it and filling it, and then they're at the point where they can start to do the prep work for paint. I want to get it closer to the point where I'm doing the prep work for paint, but some of that work is not the most interesting to watch, so I will time lapse it all for you and you can just see it all fly by. Days and days fly by in seconds. If only working like that was the case, I could do days and days and work in seconds. Oh, that would be good. Yep, this is where we're at though anyway. So this is in, everything's fitting. Kind of pleased with that now. Need to move on to this. Just going to finish this off. That's where we're at.